Welcome to the Business and Bud Show. You know it's time. Start thinking like a winner when you get online. Streaming audio and video to get you primed for a future of success, a life you design. Business and Buds is the online show for people who want to learn about creating a thriving business and a thriving network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business and Bud Show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Business and Bud Show. It is producer Pat Hilton and Mr. Michael Bryant. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
You're just crushing the game. Just crushing the game. Today, jumping in on some entrepreneur hacks. Mike's just building businesses and buying businesses and driving revenue. Why don't you break a little bit down of what we were talking about before we logged on about this hack that you have for building companies. You've done this a few times now with the e-com. You've scaled some wonderful e-com stores. The products are great. I use the products. They're wonderful. And so now you've kind of figured out a formula to take this thing all the way, and you've got tons of new stuff coming. Break it down a little bit.
So let me bring it back a little bit before that. So whenever I got into CBD, it was brutally impossible to get merchant processing and to be able to accept credit cards on the internet. So
I remember us talking about this a few times.
Yeah, so I won't harp on it too much, but basically, long story short is I acquired some companies that already had CBD processing. I then used their merchant processing history to apply for my own. And that was the shortcut to be able to get into the CBD space as a whole. And I'm doing the same thing right now. Whenever I launched CoreDev, which is our development company and SEO company, I bought an SEO company initially, so that way they would come right underneath us and I would have immediate revenue. What I did in that scenario was I was like, hey, look, I'm going to be able to grow this larger and faster than you can. Here's my experience. Here's what I've done. And you get to sit back and collect some mailbox money, basically. And I want your team. I want your assets and I want your clients. And I will continue to grow and expand that. And from that perspective, I've tripled SEO revenue for them in the past 6 months. And now I'm looking to buy another web development, SEO. They do advertising and they also do graphic design. So I'm looking to buy up other companies that fit within my wheelhouse that are going to better serve my existing client base and to increase my client base because they've already done all the heavy legwork. So people are going to be like, oh, well, that's easy for you to just like buy up companies because you make a lot of money now. That wasn't always the case. Like, also the other thing.
By the way, let me stall you for a second. That is a fucking terrible attitude, by the way.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But but it's really weird because Corona, if you're looking to buy businesses right now, you could not have asked for a better blessing than coronavirus. Like God, Allah himself could not have brought you a better fucking opportunity, because what is happening is you have, for instance, this web development company that I'm looking at buying.
He brought
I don't know
Allah
if we'll buy it or not. Maybe I don't care what God you believe in. It doesn't matter. but like, it doesn't, like, for me, if I can bring more value and show the current owner what I'm capable of and what my board is capable of, it knows that their business is going into good hands, and it knows that I'm going to give them more upside than what they're planning on selling for in the first place. So that's how I structure the deal. I'll do seller financing, and I may buy a company for $1. The dollar is just an arbitrary number that makes the contract legal. And then from there, I'm like, okay, you guys are cash flowing at $800,000 a year, which is this particular company. I'll give you $15,000 a month for the next 7 years. And if I hit benchmarks in these performance rankings, then I will give you bonuses on top of that to pay down the debt even faster. And whenever you bring it up to someone like that who's 70 years old, who's run a web development business since 1997, and they're ready to retire because they're 70 years old and their heart's not in it anymore, 15 grand a month sounds like a pretty fucking great deal whenever you don't have to do any fucking work and you know that your company is going to keep growing. And, you know, it's making the seller feel like you can provide more value than they ever could. And that's where most people get tripped up, is they think that they have to go in, and if a business costs $700,000, that they have to have 700 grand up front. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you just got to build a structure around what kind of deal you want to make.
I mean, it can work that way.
Right. Well, it's just like buying a house. I got a lot of real estate clients, and a lot of them are finding ways. I like how you said, how did I structure the deal? There's all these different ways to structure a real estate. And I know you did real estate too, but you see the wholesale and the wholetail and the sub two and the owner finance and this and or the buy and hold or the fix and flip or the whatever. There's all these different ways to do these deals, and it's just the same way with it. The same way, I don't know that one. You'd have to break that one down. Or maybe I know it. I just don't know anything.
It's you buy it, you rent it, and then you refinance it. So you buy it. Now all of your cash is in there. You own the home in full, and then you pull money back out from the bank, and you have a tenant in there at the same time. So it's called the BRRRR method.
I dig it. I dig that one. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like what we talked about with, you know, helping people with accountability. We're going to have a system available for people, too, to help them grow. You know, we structured it a certain way so that Mike and I have a 50% share. We put in 100% of the effort between the two of us. And it's just like, cool. You know, we do what we do. We get to get on here and have a show for everybody, give everybody some personal development, some business advice. And so, all these hacks, there's always a hack for something. And there are shortcuts, and Bradley rails me on this all the time too. He's like, dude, you don't always have to do it the hard way. Yeah. I mean, there is the hard way, but you know, thinking that there's no shortcuts or that there's no mentors or that there's no motivators or whoever to get in your corner to help you win quicker. That's, again, it's a bad idea. Now, you should seek those people out. That the reason why I met all those people is because I was looking for them. I was looking for new information. I was looking for new gigs. I was looking for new ways to use my talent, and I wanted to expand and monetize my skills. So I was searching for people that were better than me in certain areas of business and entrepreneurship to help me take my skills and monetize them at a higher level. So that took me admitting that I wanted to go to a higher level with my skills right there. I want to do higher ticket, skill-based services than what I'm doing right now. So that means that you have to evaluate where you're at right now and say, well, where do I want to go? This isn't any area of life. Same with Mike buying businesses. Mike's buying businesses now. 4 or 5 years ago, you know,
I wasn't.
When we were first messaging each other, he wasn't.
Nope.
So
not at all.
He's not going to go. But my point is, you're not going back to wherever you were then and asking people back wherever you were to help you buy businesses now, because they never understood it then. They're not going to understand it now. You've moved on.
Well, for certain. I mean, if I were to go back to being in real estate again, what I know now versus what I knew then, especially with e-commerce and ads and those sort of things, I know for a fact I'd be the top producer in Pittsburgh in under 12 months. Like, I know it without a doubt. I could say it. God may as well say it fucking self. Like, right. I just would be, because I have no problem spending 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month on ads, especially if I know that they're converting and I have the right return on ad spend. So, I mean, what I would do if I were in real estate all over again, and this is completely off topic, but like I thought about this the other day. If I were to go back and be in real estate again, I would go back, I would sell homes just like normal, except for the fact that every single client that I had, I would put them into like a Facebook group.
Right.
New home, especially like homeowners together. I would put them in a Facebook group together because then those people can talk about their experiences. And then what that does is it creates a conversation that I am top of mind for every single one of those people. And now if their friend needs a home or whatever it is, I didn't pay for that lead. Those people just gave them to me, or they put them in the group, or they did whatever. Those people are all little soldiers that are then working for me indirectly, that don't even realize that they're working for me indirectly. And I would run Facebook ads on every single home, especially luxury homes. I would hire a content team to, like, especially if I had a luxury home, I would bring it on TikTok, because you have no idea where you're going to find your next buyer from. People are moving all over the US right now. They're all leaving California. They're all moving, and you have no idea where someone's going to land at this point right now. So pigeonholing yourself and just marketing to like a 30 square mile on Facebook isn't the move entirely. But
everyone's definitely leaving California.
Yeah, for certain. But what I would try to do is I would try to bring all of these ads and all of these leads into one system, and I would do it all over the country. And then I would just build out a huge, vast referral network with realtors all over the country. So that way they would be selling property and I would be getting 20%, 25% referral commissions on every single sale. And I just have money coming in that I'm not working for.
Right.
I'm not working for that.
You're just the machine.
Yeah, correct. I want to be the cog that just spins out every single lead that everyone else can work with. To be totally honest, I don't ever want to fucking speak to a real estate customer. I would rather have someone on my team do it, because I'm not that much of a personable human being. Like, right. I'll give you an example from this morning. There was
I think you're personable, Mike.
I had a client this morning that...
You have your moments.
I do. I had a client this morning, though, that didn't catch something in their CRM for 3 days. It was their fault. And they were like, hey, I need you to take off like $4,000 off my next invoice. And I was like, well, you haven't even paid your fucking invoice, and I didn't charge you a late fee. So I was like, you're not going to hear what you want to hear right now, but that's not happening. And I was like, I'm being nice by waiving basically this $2,000 on your late fee for you. And it was just, he was like, well, what is, the issue with that? Long story short, I ended up giving him $500 off of his next invoice because there was a partial human error from my team. However, the main error came from the fact that he let sales run through for 72 hours and didn't catch the issue on his own. My team is not responsible for your CRM management or for you checking on your own leads and data. We build the platforms for you, and then it is your responsibility to monitor your own things. And we started to get into a little bit of a scuffle about it. And I was like, look, I don't need your money. If you don't like how this is, then find a different person to build out your shit. I respect you enough to say that, okay, I made a mistake here. I'll take a portion of this off. But he wanted me to pay for like shipping and all these other things that like have nothing to fucking do with me. And I was like, I don't know where you got this fucked up, but like, I'm not that guy. So we need to figure out something, or you're free to go elsewhere. I'll relinquish you from your contract and then we're done. And long story short, I had my wire 5 minutes later.
Mike ain't here to play games with your bullshit, people.
I just don't care. I don't give a fuck. And that,
I mean, it's just like, I mean, you give a fuck about the service and the quality,
Correct.
but like, there's only so much you can do when people have a problem in their business.
Well, the other thing that like I made a point to is I save you over $12,000 a month in your cost of goods by introducing you to my manufacturer. So you want to nitpick these little things, I can tell my manufacturer to not service you. So what is it that you actually want? Because if I get rid of you on a service, you lose all of it.
Right.
And
I mean,
that's not,
when you connect people to all the other rungs on your ladder, you know, you're kind of responsible in a way for everything flowing. So if one person has a problem with everything else, but it's their problem, then it's like, well, listen, dude, you know, tough shit. You're either in the circle or you're out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. If that guy had caught that within 24 hours or, you know, same day, because it's his job to be in his CRM, looking at the stats, it's his job to be making things are going the way that he wants them to go. I don't run his business. I'm a service provider for his business. Right. And a lot of people get fucked up and think that I'm going to run your company for you. Well, if I run your company for you, you're going to pay me a hell of a lot more than that. Because it works that way. Like, my time is extraordinarily valuable, and I just am not going to put up with any of those sorts of games. It just doesn't work that way. Like, you want a service to be provided, and the issue is that you didn't look at your numbers well enough, and then you blame me for it. I'm sorry, but like, that shit don't fly with me at all. It just doesn't.
Right.
And I'll be cordial. And I even called him and explained to him on the phone, like, hey, here is why I'm willing to give you $500 off. And don't expect that to ever happen again. I will never do it again in our contract, ever. But I know the situation that you're in, and I am empathetic to it. However, I'm not that empathetic. I don't really have that muscle in my body.
You know, you want to play with the big boys, you're going to have to play for the big prizes, and there's big failures and big risks sometimes. That's the way it goes. And so, or big lessons. We've talked about that too. Sometimes it's not a loss, it's a lesson. But yeah, I mean, if you want to sign up for something and you want to roll the dice, I mean, you got to be ready to deliver. Because what this also comes down to is it's just, there's so many people out there today that want to commit to stuff for a little bit of time, you know, a little bit of time. But then when it's really time to start grinding or start really pushing or dealing with some adversity, you know, we see a lot of people cracking and wanting to quit. And, oh, man, you know, I can't make the payment, or, oh, man, I can't do this, or I can't do that. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, I've had people that I've consulted for in the past tell me that, like, they're like, I'm suicidal about like this, like, big business brings big depression too. Right. Most people don't want to talk about that. And a lot of the people that run the biggest companies on earth are also depressed. I have a lot of depression all the time. However, one way that I get around my depression is by keeping myself busy with other tasks. So that way my brain doesn't roam. It doesn't wander. Right. And that's how I keep myself out of like dark thoughts. Now, if I have an issue and I lose a client or I whatever, and I lose, let's say, 20 grand a month in cash flow, I don't think about that. I'm like, okay, how do I solve the next problem, and how do I get 40 grand more in cash flow? And what lesson should I take from losing the previous 20? What can I take to go to the next person to make it better for them? Granted, I've never lost a client yet. So, but like, I'm giving that as an example that most people don't like. If you sign up for our group, or you ever sign up to work with CoreDev or whatever, I'm going to speak to you the exact same fucking way that I speak right now. So if you're expecting me to turn on this different business hat And to be a different human being, I'm not.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why we do this is because you get to see how two people really are. I mean, you can go to my page, there's comedy skits and songs and raps and all this kind of stuff, but it's just I'm the same way. I'm only one way. And that's the one way that got me on the highway with a lot of players in entrepreneur land is because I was like, listen, man, I got a lot to learn, dude, but I got a ton of skills that can help you make this or that or the other thing. So why don't I just do that? And then you can kind of just help me along the way. What do you think? And it worked because I wasn't really asking for anything but a little bit of time or an opportunity. I'm not asking for a private jet flight or some kind of bullshit. All I wanted was opportunities, man.
Yep.
Just put me in the game. So let me run a couple plays. And then, you get back to running the field. So let me hit some shit.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, has there ever been a time where you've tried something and failed? I'm sure that the answer is yes.
I mean, yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you let that issue just like fuck you up forever? Or did you say, okay, I'm going to do something different and here's why I failed and here's how I'm moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, so it's like certain stuff sticks with you. And we talked about this on another episode is when you look back, you'll realize that certain stuff you might have thought it didn't work out or it was an L or however you want to mark it down on your record. But you realize that like either you're still playing, that scenario is still playing out. So it was never really a loss because you never really quit. It never really went away. You're still doing it. I was playing music in third grade. I've told this story on the show, I think, because all the girls were playing instruments. I'm not going and doing computer class with freaking Joe Haymaster or whatever his name was when all the chicks are playing freaking clarinets and trombones and shit. I'm joining the band class.
Your fucking memory of school kids' names is just
there were some good names,
dude. Beyond world.
Good names. But you remember those people because you saw them every day for 10 years, right? So some of those things may not have worked out long term. Like I never really became like a professional lacrosse player or professional soccer player, but all those things opened the opportunity for me as a performer, as a musician, since my whole life to be really, really good at performance. While I might not be playing the guitar right now and singing, it's kind of performance based. I mean, I'm running the whole system. If you probably see me moving around and multitasking, so I'm looking at like 10 different dials and levers, making sure that this is going one place and the other thing's going another place. And it's a performance setting to me. This is still entertainment at the end of the day.
Well, the cool thing about you is like, and this is, I'm going to pat you on the back here, but the cool thing that I think, and the reason why I chose you to do this is you've been way more vocal on social media than I have about all the things that like you do. I don't post dick. And you said it to me the other day. You were like, you're basically a fucking ghost on social media.
You're pretty quiet.
It's true. I am. I don't.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, because when you want to be loud, a lot of people will hear you because you're not loud all the time. But consistency wins on social media.
I do agree with that. Up until this point now, my goal has never been to captivate an audience, ever.
Right.
My goal has been your goal as a performer. My goal has been to literally put my fucking head down, never look up until like I hit the marks that I wanted to hit, and then breathe a little bit and be like, okay, you're here. Figure out what your next stage in this evolution is of business, of life. And that's constantly fucking changing for me and you. I mean,
yeah, it is. And anyone who wants to grow, it's changing for them every day. Personal development and self-education is something that you do every single day. Like I was super wired at like 3:45. It's 12:35 in the afternoon now. I just got up and walked and did a whole bunch of stuff. By 7 o'clock, the kids were up. I was already had walked for a few hours, listened to some music, like a few hours. Like I'm just like, just get up, walk for a couple hours.
Now, whenever you walk, do you listen to podcasts or do you listen to music? Do you listen to
sometimes I usually listen to music. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, to be completely honest, because I'm always working on all of this other stuff that I have to do for my clients and for me. And it gets to a point where like sometimes I don't even want to deal with media. I'll be completely honest. Sometimes I walk around for an hour and a half in my neighborhood talking to myself. It's fucking bizarre, but I'm telling you, it works.
Let's see.
Walking around in the dark at like 5:15 in the morning, just talking about, man, you got to do this. And man, that's a great idea. You know, scrolling through the phone. I use my note app, right? So I use my note app like you do. Sometimes I write scripts. Sometimes I walk down the street and I write scripts. I pull up a Donald Trump slip up and I write a script to it. And then I'm like, ooh, that's good. Now let's see if I can get the other guy. I built a whole debate response video the other day. And it was like, I look at other people's stuff now, and my stuff, the editing is way more heavily edited than other people's stuff. Because I have a box next to me that I'm responding to. There's a voiceover guy I love. His name's Ozzy Man. He's an incredible voiceover guy. But he's never really on the video. So the production's if I just recorded myself talking and then let a video play over it and you never saw me, it'd be way easier to edit because all I'm doing is talking to the video. But when I film myself like this and like you are the news broadcast, I'm actually live responding to it and you can watch me responding to it. It's way harder. It just is to produce at least than just talking over a video and posting it.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
But I'm constantly thinking about that. It's just like you said, like you're investing in startups or you're investing in this or you're growing this. Everybody's success is whatever it is. Businesses, buying businesses. You're always investing in something or you're investing in being the same thing. So that's something to think about. There's your guru quote of the week. Your guru quote of the week from Pat there. You're either investing in something or you're investing in being the same thing.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like the way that I think about that is your input is your output. Right? So there is I forget who the fuck said it. It doesn't matter. It's true. It wasn't me. I did not come up with this. But the 5 people that you hang around the most are the people that you will become the most liked or the most alike with. So if you're still hanging around with all of your broke friends from high school and talking about that, or you're hanging out with people that don't share what you feel inside. And it's literally just like, it's an innate feeling that you have. Like if you're meant to be a part of this world, you fucking know it, because I would rather, and I don't mean this in like a metaphorical fucking way. I would rather die than not run my own companies. I would rather be fucking dead. That's how I am. If I'm not in charge of my destiny and my control, I would rather die. Now, if you feel that way and you feel that you need the control of your life, then you may be called out for this. Just know it comes with some real shitty territory. I've put guns in my own mouth. I've thought about killing myself. I've tried killing myself with pills. Like this was before my kids came along, but I was still running my own companies. Like the amount of people that think that like just because I had $1 million month last month in gross, well, a little more than that, like 1.1, but like just because of that, people are like, oh, it must be so good. It must be so easy. Fuck no. I want more challenges. That's why I'm buying other businesses. I'm bored. I'm fucking bored. I need more on my plate because otherwise my brain goes fucking wild. And that is the only way that I know how to control it in myself. And I don't know that there's a lot of other people. I'm sure Sean Whalen, Andy Frisella, like there's a couple of people that will also talk about this sort of shit. But like not many will actually do that. And I give mad props to Andy and Sean. Like it gives me the courage to share some of the disparity that comes along with this.
Well, and that's why it's funny you mentioned Sean. That's why when I like hop on Sean's, he was doing a live the other night after the debate and he was talking, he's like, we got to get Donald Trump Jr. on here. If you follow Sean, I mean,
oh yeah.
And so, I started typing some funny shit. And he was like, yeah, you guys all got to go follow Pat Hilton. He's hilarious. You got to go watch Pat Hilton Spaced Out News and funny songs. I love that guy. What's up, Pat? And dude, I got like 73 new followers or something like right away because people like him who have been through the shit and have dug through the mud and they see somebody else digging through the mud and walking through the shit. They want that person to win.
You're going to give a handout.
They want that person to win so bad because they're like, oh, fuck. I remember that pile of shit because I walked through it too. So, you know what I mean? I feel like that guy's got it. And you get to a certain level and, we messaged him back and forth just the other day about this or that or the other thing. And he was laughing about this or that or the other thing. And it was just like, dude, that guy has sent me shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff over the years and given me opportunities because I was one of the first people to buy one of his hats and show up and perform outside an event for no money in the lobby, by the way. Set up my shit out in the lobby and performed while people were coming in and just acted like I was booked. Just pretended, awesome. Drove to Arizona with my wife. We hadn't had any kids or anything yet. We were just hanging out for a weekend in Arizona. And I brought my speaker and set up. And as people start filing in for the meltdown in the desert, the first one, I'm playing Colby in the lobby. I'm playing. Colby's cool. I was playing in the lobby. And Sean's like, this guy's fucking making up songs about lions, not sheep and all this kind of shit. This guy's great. He's like, dude, I mean, how'd you get booked here? I'm like, dude, I'm not even booked. I just set up my shit.
That's a great story.
That is fucking savage. That's how I met Sean. I'm like, dude, I'm the guy that sent you the messages. I was like, dude, I'm just going to set my shit up. And then the next year, Colby was like, yeah, dude, just bring your shit and we'll like find a time slot for you. I'll get you in, hang out like after lunch or something when everyone's there. And we've already done like our morning segment. Come on, rock a song or something. But bring your own shit because I don't have like music gear for you. So I showed up with my speaker and shredded the fuck out of the place, had the whole place clapping and stuff like that. And literally it was hilarious. And it was just, that's how it all started for me in that entrepreneur space. And Entrepreneur Magazine was there and I got interviewed on Entrepreneur's Facebook page by Scott Duffy. So those things all happened because I showed up and did the work and didn't ask for like money or ask for hotels or ask for anything other than give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes and I will fucking knock everybody's head off. It's like batting practice for me. All I need is the time and the and a second to set up my video camera.
Yeah. I mean,
and it worked.
I feel like that's how a lot of entertainers have become entertainers is they're willing to go 1,000 miles away from literally maybe where their home is or whatever it may be.
Oh, I did that many times. Yeah. Drove around the country with rap stars and MTV stars and all kinds of shit. I mean, dude, here's a story for you. I don't know how this came up from buying businesses, but whatever.
That's what it's about, man. It's about fucking like this show.
This is a good one. This is impulsive. A good one. It's everything. So we were traveling. I believe it was me and Afro Man, and we had a bunch of shows booked with Bam Margera. So Bam Margera has a brother who has a punk rock band, and they're called CKY2K, and they're fucking awesome. Okay?
I know them.
So
from Punxsutawney. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So CKY2K is awesome. If you like that kind of shit. So we're traveling around doing these things, and like Steve-O and like Johnny Knoxville are doing stupid shit off the stage. And so it was like a band of those guys from CKY, but it was called Fuckface Unstoppable. So it was like Bam's own project, Bam Margera, and he was calling himself Fuckface Unstoppable. So we're like, did a line of shows with this dude, a run of shows, and we're all messed up this one night, and the crowd was pretty popping, and they're going crazy. There's this wacky dude from like Europe. I'm trying to think of what his name was, like something Heap, like, and there's an old band called Uriah Heep. I don't think that was his name. Something Heap. This guy was a wacko, whack job guy. I'm telling you, and I'm crazy. Him and Novak's the guy's name. So him and this Novak dude, yeah, are totally fucked up, out of control, and they've got tasers, and they're like tasing people and shit. And I'm like on the back of the stage because I really like this one song, so I'm like all fired up, and we're like smoking and getting fucked up. And freaking Bam gets a hold of the taser, and I'm like, dude, no. And he's like, and he tases my balls on the stage, yeah. Tases me in the nuts right in front of everybody, and it hurt. I'm telling you.
Bro, is this on video?
This is pain. There's no video of it. I've actually tried to obtain footage, and not easy people to get a hold of, as you can imagine. Sure. And so, yeah, tases, like, not quick, like tases the fuck out of me. And I'm like, dude. And I kind of wanted to whoop his ass, but it's one of those people that's just like,
you expect it.
He's so outrageous that it's just like people loved it. Like I'm walking around later and people are like, dude, high five. That was awesome, dude. He tased you in the dick. And I'm like, this environment is extremely toxic, but this was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And then I'm just like,
and you can fill up kids.
And it's just like, ladies and gentlemen, this is why Pat Hilton doesn't drink and smoke weed anymore. So, I mean, I have so many stories like that, but yeah, somehow got Novak's taser, and somehow my genital area was tased, and like hard, and like held it there. Like
I'd be one of the dudes that high five.
It like sticks. Like when it like connects, it like sticks. It's weird. Oh. Like it doesn't like let go right away. It's weird. I'm telling you, it was a bizarre thing. But yeah. So that night I was the dude that got his balls tased on stage. And now here we are on the Business and Bud show talking about it. I don't even think I've ever told that story. That's not really something that you like record yourself bragging about, but here we are. We're going all the way. You guys are going to hear all of it on this show. This show is no holds barred. I'm trying to think of a follow-up for that one because we did. So we went. So that guy, the Heap guy, I'll find him, by the way. He was like making out with Novak later or something like that. It's weird. And then,
this is going 0 or 100 on the way that this show goes is evolved on this one episode right here.
Yeah, you guys are either going to love this one or hate this one. It doesn't matter though. This is part of the lesson too, though. This is part of the lesson of at that time in my life. If I have to sum it up, at that time in my life, yeah, I mean, I'm living the dream. I'm traveling all over. I was a quote unquote rock star, right? Yeah, I mean, does that really sound that glorious, guys? Does that really sound like some kind of like braggadocious success story? I mean, it was fun as hell being an idiot, but at the end of the day, all I was doing is being a fucking asshole. I'm way more successful now, utilizing my skills in a professional way. I'm making way more money, supporting my kids and supporting my wife. That's why I can laugh and tell that story now. I don't feel bad telling that story. It's stupid and it's funny, but at the same time, the reason why it's relevant, in my opinion, to business is because even in those moments, that's not, again, not really a braggadocious moment, but it's funny because of how much I've changed since then.
Well, the way that I was trying to like put that together was it's the authenticity of this show that is going to either bring it from 0 to 100. Like either you guys,
if you guys don't like it, you're crazy, because there's no way any of you will ever be tough enough or ballsy enough to take a taser to the freaking balls on stage in the middle of buttfuck Ohio.
Actually, if you are, Owen, whatever legalese we need down here, send us that fucking video because I want to see it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever find that. I've tried.
No. I mean, other people. If you're ballsy enough.
If you're ballsy enough to do that and you send me a video, I will give you free access to the Iconic Messengers and Business and Bud system for a full year.
Boom.
Thousands of dollars of value. I will give it to you for free. I will personally log into the system and give you access to it.
Also,
if you send me anything relatively close to anything that can rival that story, which is a true story, you can look up Pat Hilton and Bam Margera online. And the reason why I wanted that was because like 10 minutes before that, I was like crowd surfing and I was like the man, right? I was just crushing it. And then like coming back up on stage, most of the time you come back up on stage at a show like that, they kick your ass off. Not this guy. I was so cool. They even rewarded me with a taser to the nuts. So, you guys just got to know how to get to the top of the ladder. That's why I had no problem walking right up to Grant Cardone in the middle of a hotel and being like, dude, you got to give me this opportunity. You're sharing my stuff all over the internet. You think I'm so funny. Why don't you just let me play at your big business event? Is this same thing as talking to some famous MTV star or something? The best lesson you can learn from any of this is that you're never going to get in any wild situations or get any of your dreams to come true unless you ask for the deal.
Well, let's put it into perspective here. How much extra money do you think that you earned from going and doing Meltdown in the Desert? All of it, like doing all of those shows basically pro bono for the exposure for your brand and to meet the niche that you wanted to meet. How much money, like, does that contribute to the majority of your earnings now? Is what I'm asking.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because I like to use the win-loss record, scenario or track record. It's called social proof. That gave me social proof that my wacky Bam Margera style concept worked in a business setting. So I knew I could get away with this outrageous behavior if I shaped it and morphed it into a skit musical, performance scenario that was like 5 minutes. Like, give me like 10 minutes. Because if it's 20 or it's 25, I run the risk of overdoing it, especially a guy with a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the same scenario that worked in front of his crowds. It's the same scenario that worked in front of Coolio's crowds. It's the same scenario that worked in front of sold out Afro Man shows. The same thing that I was doing at those Entrepreneur, it was targeted to that audience. And it was like 10 minutes. It was like a hot spot. The reason why people love Mike Tyson fights from the 80s is because they never go over 8 minutes. Most of the first 30 knockouts of his career, I'm, again, huge Mike Tyson fan, by the way, because he beats the shit out of people. That's what you don't watch boxing to see people, play silly putty or, sing Kumbaya. If you want that, go down to, Church on the Rock. you want to see somebody get their head knocked off, you turn on Mike Tyson clips. So the moral of the story was the reason why he sold so many tickets is because people wanted to see a knockout. How can I put a knockout performance in music with a guitar? I have to shorten the delivery and make it fast and hard and aggressive. And after 8 minutes, it's over. Stop the fight. And so that's how I targeted those. I'm like, all right, well, you can't go up there and play any kind of Afro Man, Coolio, Gangster's Paradise, Colt 45, fucked her to the left, fucked her to the right. That ain't going to fly. But what you can do is play your original lovey-dovey rock and roll, beat 'em up, hand clap shit and get people fired up and loud, especially in this setting, because let's just be honest, business events are boring. You have the advantage. It's a quiet setting. We're going to really talk about finding yourself and looking within and growth. How do I grow? What do I really want in life? Have you guys ever asked yourself, what do I really want? And then Pat Hilton comes out after the lunch break and everybody's like feeling revitalized. I actually like the events. I'm not hating on it either, but it can get real slow. Is you start to kind of find things and you find all these golden nuggets, and then some asshole comes out with a guitar and starts pounding the place. It's a completely untapped audience, and the audience is built in. I don't have to draw anyone to the audience. They've already paid to be there. Plus, they're not paying $15 to go there to like drink and stuff. They're paying hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. They're business owners. They can pay me way more money than any music venue to do whatever, all of these. And that was when I started looking at my skill set and I'm like, well, you can do way more than music. Mm-hmm. So me shifting from be an asshole with a guitar to turn into a business person was really inspired by Andy, Sean, and Grant Cardone. If I had to name 3 names, and Brad Lee, 4 names, Andy Frisella, Sean Whalen, Brad Lee, Grant Cardone. And I don't think I've ever met Andy face to face, but I used to message Andy hammered and be like, dude, I'm totally going to play with you at an event. I'm unavoidable, bro. I'm the fucking acoustic force and I am a dominator. And we did end up playing at 10X2 at the same event together, but I wasn't really cool enough to be backstage day one. So I didn't really meet him, but
yeah, that happens.
It is what it is. It doesn't matter because my mark was made. But my point is I hit walls. Certain behaviors and stuff hit a wall, and it was like, well, you're either going to fail or you're going to adjust 3 degrees and then go and hit this. And then you're going to adjust 3 degrees and go hit this. The tour with Joe Fro is over. You're going to have to adjust to move to California to scale because there's way more music venues out there. And then California got so fucking radical. Everyone's fucking leaving California now. You got to get the fuck out of here. Now you got to adjust. Now we're in Texas. And now I'm doing way more like podcasting and video editing and comedy skits, still doing the music, still doing the guitar, but I had to make an adjustment.
Well, I don't look at it as an adjustment. It's an evolution of your skill set.
It is an evolution, but
same thing with what I'm referring to as the entrepreneur hack, though. It's an evolution of your skill set. Just like mine is an evolution now. Everybody has different goals too. Correct.
When I wake up and there's 3 messages in my inbox, that are like, dude, that skit you made with Joe Biden blatantly lying about the Green New Deal is fucking hilarious. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so glad you liked it. And then when you made fun of Trump for stumbling over the thing, dude, that was great. You like paused it and like his hands.
Oh, do you mean whenever he didn't denounce the Proud Boys?
Yeah, whatever it was, he stumbled on it.
He handled that so horribly.
It was terrible.
Look, I have no problem. Like, I do like Trump on a lot of things, but that dude fucked that question up so bad.
And I try to put myself in their shoes. Like, Biden is trying to be the moderate Democrat. So he's trying to please these radical socialists. Let's just call them what they are. But he's also trying to please like my friends that are like kind of like central, but they're a little bit left. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that, dude. You pick one. You're either controlled by the radical left or you're not.
Or same with
you can't be both. Right. It's the same thing with Trump. It's like, dude, you're either homies with these militia groups or you're not.
Correct.
So you're gonna have to make that distinction. Same thing with Biden didn't want to condemn Antifa.
Yeah, and Trump made the KKK.
Again, this cuts both ways.
And Antifa terrorist groups or something like that.
Because
I don't know
they are.
Full story. Well, I don't know the full story, but I hope that he did, because that's
it's some platinum plan that is associated with this as well, with funding for
this.
Was funding for certain communities. The guy's trying to make deals. I mean, Barack Obama tried to make deals. Bush tried to make deals. Bill Clinton tried to make deals. The whole goal of the president is to like pass legislation and shit. So this old scenario and this old way of thinking that you're not supposed to talk about that kind of stuff is getting thrown out the window. The reason why people get so mad at each other is because they never talk about the shit. So then when they finally get around someone that, oh my God, you think differently than me, they freak out.
Yeah,
they freak out. And then they attack. And it's like, I don't care what you think. I respect your right to think whatever you want to think. You know what I mean? It's fine. I don't like building. I don't like building. I don't like building furniture. I'd rather pay $30 extra and have the furniture built. Somebody might be like, it's a waste $30. Not going to be like, well, then fucking unfollow me.
Well, for sure. Well,
I'm just using an analogy. That's how stupid that is.
Yep.
Well, fuck you, Mike. Unfollow me if you're going to pay $30 to have the thing done. I'm saving money. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Also, that's not how my mind works at all. So it's not going to, I outsource every fucking thing I can.
Well, right. But my point is that you see this, the reason people got mad at this or got mad at that is because they were looking for it in the first place to piss them off. And then when it was said and it was kind of up in the air, they snatched it and they said, see, told ya. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, he bluffed that, but you were waiting to call him a racist the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that he's denounced white supremacy, the KKK, Antifa, any kind of radical group from the left or the right, how many thousands and gazillions of times I went on YouTube and found 6 different clips I could use for my spaced out news review of that. And it got to a point where I could have called Trump or Biden out on fudging this or lying about that or exaggerating this. I didn't want to spend any more time on it.
Yep.
So I chose one thing from one guy that was my favorite insult from Biden, my favorite insult from Trump, and I used an example of each. And then I used one example of Trump screwing up and one example of Biden screwing up. And then that was the end of the episode. Yep. I completely split it down the line. And of course, someone messages me and they're like, you're so hard on Biden. You don't always have to call Biden out for lying. And I'm like,
what? Yeah, you do.
Think about what you just said. I don't have to call him out so much for lying. If he didn't lie, I wouldn't have to make fun of him for lying. And again, this goes both ways. You're gonna condemn one guy for every single thing he does, but you don't even look at the other guy with the same scrutiny. Now, I get it because I'm a fan of certain things, but those things are not politicians. Again, I've said this 1,000 times. I'm a fan of Van Halen's guitar playing. I'm not a fan, quote unquote, of Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
I like him. I like him better than the other people around, but there's certainly a better option at hand in this country somewhere. And I don't know who that is, but like there is someone
money
that
game too, dude. These
more
people,
well-equipped.
it's just like you're talking about. You're not going to invest. You're not going to invest in some product that's not going to that's not going to make it. These parties, I guess they're called, are really businesses, and they're not going to put somebody out there that isn't going to do what they need to do to sell. So that's why I rip on this guy or I rip on that guy. I give Joe Biden a hard time. He's been in politics for 47 years, and now all of a sudden he's going to fix everything. Dude, you're going to have a tough time selling me that. Again, Bam Margera he's a friend of mine, so I can say this. I mean, I was an addict too, but he's been an addict for a long time, dude. And he's had some terrible moments, really hard losses, friends that, passed away way too soon. Mm-hmm. And it hit him very hard, but he's not just magically going to get better tomorrow. It's going to take work. You don't just do something for 50 years and then magically change.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, man. That's why we look at track records of people that we invest with, or businesses that have a track record that you invest with. Apple has a track record of growth. But you can look at actual data to support. I buy Apple products because I know they work. The reception between our stuff is good because, in my opinion, I use high quality Apple products, and I use an application through Apple for Apple that works really well for our recordings. Now, once Mike gets router reform, it's going to be even cleaner. I'm willing to put my money on that when the game's on the line because I know it's going to convert for me. So obviously, whether the Republicans like Donald Trump or not, they think he's going to convert, and he did. Whether the Democrats like Joe Biden or not, he's obviously converted for them for 47 years. They think he's going to convert again. This is a business. Politics is a business.
I have to give
just like what we talk about on this show.
I actually want to give a little bit of credit to Joe Biden, though. He was
actually really good in the debate.
Yes, he was shockingly better than I thought he would be.
I mean, did anyone? I knew that he would. Here's Donald Trump was so fucking out of control. He played to Biden's advantage because anytime Sleepy Joe was going to lose his train of thought, Trump, the maniac, is coming in and interrupted him. He didn't allow him to slip up.
Bro, if he had just shut the fuck up and
he doesn't know how to. He let his ego run him that night.
100%. The moment that Biden starts saying numbers, just let him talk because he's going to run himself into a hole. Like, seriously.
200 million? Yeah, his brain goes.
He sounds like an auction. And it's fascinating. So it's like, just let him fucking talk.
He came in, hacked off or something.
You keep track of like what's going on with the previous thing that the other person said, and then you reply to those things. Like if he had gone in there and then didn't interrupt at all, I think that he very clearly would have, been a good candidate for that.
I think that's the thing about it.
Authenticity, though.
He just barrel rolled the whole fucking joint. And you know what? I got to be honest. When I watched it live, I thought it was awesome.
Oh, it was funny. Entertainment.
When I went back the next day and started cutting through some of the footage, I was like, this is so bad. Well, because at that point I was using a different analysis.
Correct. Yeah. So taking it on an entertainment standpoint, it was
hilarious
television. However, taking it from a standpoint of you're trying to elect the person that's going to be CEO of your country, it was just like, holy shit, this was abhorrent. And you guys should both be fucking very ashamed.
And the moderator was fucking horrible. Chris Wallace was fucking terrible.
Yes, that
I'm
too.
sorry, he was. He was so bad. He saved Joe Biden 17 times because I watched it a second time and was going through. And then, like, one guy, what was his name? Donald Trump was about to get him on something after
What's his
being an
name?
asshole. Yeah, sorry. You know, and he corners him on something. And then Chris Wallace was like, all right, and now we're going to move on. It's like, no, whoa. It's like if you've seen Rocky 1, the first Rocky movie, like Apollo Creed is hitting him and he's like, come on, Stallion. And like Rocky's not a good boxer. And, come on, Stallion. He keeps hitting him again. He's getting a little cocky and arrogant. And then Rocky hits him in the stomach and knocks him down, like in the first round. And then, you know, he beats him up the rest of the round. And then, like a couple rounds later, Rocky hits him real hard and stuns him and starts fucking him up bad, dude. And the guy with the bell ringer, there's like 30 seconds left in the round. And he's like, ding, 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 ding. Because Apollo Creed's getting fucked up and he's like, well, I can't let my guy get killed in there. We can't let him lose. This guy's supposed to be knocked out by now. Anytime Trump had any leverage, they moved on. And this is why he showed up pissed. And this is why his supporter base is going to show up loud, because this dude gets shit on every step of the way. No one's saying he's not an asshole. He's a complete asshole. He's an egomaniac. He's completely out of control on the microphone. Yep. So don't get it the wrong way. You can take whatever clip you want off of this and roast me if you want. I will fuck you up. And the bottom line is this. That is why there's so much division. And that's part of the reason why I roast Biden, is because there's never any coverage on his fuck ups. Trump made fun of his son for doing coke and for taking the $3.5 million bribe. And I saw people the next day that were like, he should not have done that. Well, when Donald Trump Jr. spoke at the RNC, I didn't even know Donald Trump Jr. spoke at the RNC, by the way, until the next day when everybody said he looked like he was high on coke. So it's okay for one side to do it, but not okay for the other side to do it. This fucking blatant hypocrisy is part of the problem in America.
Also,
if you're going to sling shit at people, you better be ready to take it back. And that's why people are hard on Trump, because he's a shit slinger. So, sure. I mean, the guy's a shit slinger. So don't be mad when people get on Twitter and pull their pants down and crap on your comment section.
Yeah. Well, also, not one of us gives a shit if you disagree with us.
Well, there's nothing to disagree. There's nothing to disagree with. Call Politico and have them fact check me, because everything I said was a fact. I saw it. So, you know, also, they're both assholes in their own way.
Did you see the thing on his wrist?
They're claiming that it was the rosary of his lost
what about the wire that was inside of his blazer?
They're claiming that it is the crease on his shirt.
But it's black and moves in a three-dimensional way.
Fact checkers have apparently confirmed that there was no wire and that this thing was a rosary. I don't know anybody that wears a rosary down their arm, by the way. I got a rosary from Pope John Paul II, hand to hand. I shared the picture the other day. I don't know.
Bro, if it's a rosary, then by definition of the radical left as a whole, they would denounce Joe Biden as a candidate.
Well, he's a Catholic. That's not true necessarily, because Nancy Pelosi's Catholic, Joe Biden's Catholic. What's up?
She's Satan, dude.
She's I mean, she's a scumbag. I wrote a song called Nancy Pelosi is a Scumbag. You guys can go download that today on YouTube and listen to it in your car. I mean, if you don't like it, tough shit. But that's the claim. The claim is that this thing here was a crease in the shirt, and that this thing here under the cuff was a rosary.
Bro, nobody with intelligence believes that for a second.
I'm just telling you what the fact checker said.
So I'm not calling you retarded, but
but go ahead.
You make your own conclusion here. Like that's like I'm not going to call
He
you
meant,
retarded.
he meant mentally challenged. Mentally
No, I
challenged
didn't. I
is
did
the
not.
is the 2020 word for what we used to get away with in 1998.
I did not mean that. I meant like if you are absolutely
I wonder if
incapable
people
of your own thoughts.
right. I wonder if people these days that are offended by something like that would have even made it out alive in 1998 when we were in high school.
I don't know.
Like, would they have even? I don't know if you guys would have made it sophomore year, getting called and
F word.
Oh no, yeah.
I used
Now
to
it's the
get
F
like
word.
people. Yeah, people used to say like all the time, even in passing.
All day.
Like, yeah, it was just like a turn of phrase.
All day.
And it didn't matter. The thing is, like, people give too much power to words as a whole. If I mean,
What was,
and I'm
what
saying,
was the old song we used to sing as kids? What was the song? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Remember that?
yeah, I do.
You chump wads need to go sing that song in the mirror if you're offended by what's coming out of our mouths. Because here's the other thing. If you're offended by what's coming out of our mouths, business isn't for you anyway, because you better have thicker skin than that.
Well, that's
seriously.
true. And also, like, I mean, I come from a household, and I don't initiate this with my sons right now. I'm not saying that I won't ever do this, but like, if I fucked up whenever I was younger, I was the youngest, I would get an ass whooping, belt, I would get a wooden spoon, I would get whatever it was, and I would
never
learn.
got like belts or wooden spoons, but I mean, I've gotten spanked a fair share of times.
And or like a spanking, whatever was available. Like my parents, they did not like try to like fuck you up in the face, whatever. It was like, hey, this is a fucking lesson.
Well, no.
Like you do whatever. And usually it was because like one of me or my three brothers would fuck each other up, and then like my parents would have to fuck one of us up a little bit because like we initiated it. And like it was an effective means for us whenever like it made us, whenever we would go into restaurants with people would literally, I remember this as a kid, people would walk up and they would be like, your children are so well behaved. And they would thank my parents for that. It was a weird fucking thing. But like being a parent now, I do the same thing with my kids. Like if my kids scream or cry or whatever for literally longer than like 10 seconds, I remove my child from the restaurant.
Yeah, it's hard to sing songs in a restaurant with screaming kids.
Well, I don't
try being the singer in the corner.
Well, that, or also maybe, and this is what I realized what my parents were doing. They were courteous because they knew whenever they got to go out, which was very rare, on a date night without any kids, they just wanted quiet. That's all that they wanted. They wanted to be able to enjoy their meal without kids screaming or crying or whatever it was. Right. And it was the way that their parents raised them, and then they passed it down. And it was just one of those things where it was a core traditional value. And not every time that we would act up would we get a spanking. Like, I'm not saying that like they were abusive. Like, they reprimanded us probably more than they should have, but also probably the fucking right amount. I was a dickhead. And like, so like that is true. So it's like, okay, sometimes you need to be spanked on the wrist before touching the stove that's already hot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And not a lot of people understand that aspect of it.
Dude, that goes right back to everything else we just talked about. If I wouldn't have put in all that time playing music venues and running around, maybe with the right crowd or the wrong crowd. At the time, it felt like the right crowd. Long term, it wasn't. It was not the right crowd long term. And I would have never learned all these things that I learned if I just would have sheltered myself and gone and worked at my dad's accounting firm. Mm-hmm. Like the Pat that I wanted to become, it wasn't going to happen there. And so, while he may have backed me up on the corporate audio gig, that wasn't going to cut it either. I had to go all the way to the extreme to get the experience that I needed to go all the way to the extreme on the other side. This is why I love talking about the extremes, because you can think extreme in one area and then think the complete other extreme in a different area. Totally opposite sides of the court. This is why I don't get mad at people about like what we were talking about earlier about politics. I'm not mad at you if you want to vote for Joe Biden. I'm not mad at you if you want to vote for Donald Trump. I'm not mad at you if you want to vote for the third party chick, Joe Jorgensen, because you think they're both cocknuts. It doesn't bother me at all.
Well, that's actually the best part about America is the ability to think freely and then just have enough respect for the other person. Like, not like, I don't know what that other person has been through in their life to make them view the world that they do. I will never see life through their lens ever. It's impossible.
Right. And with as close as the numbers are, you know, especially right now, obviously it's like almost 50% think this way and 50% think the other way out of 100. So 25% think one way and 24% think the other way. If I really want to break it down from like a circular pie, 24% or 25% on like the R and the D over here. And then there's like 25%, 32% that don't even vote if we're going the political route here. Yeah. And then, you know, third party is some people call it throwing away your vote. I completely disagree with that. I have voted third party multiple times.
I think in an
and I've voted 3 different times. 2 of them were third party.
So I think that depends on a couple of other variables that are going on in the political realm. So in the event that there's like a Supreme Court justice seat that he determined with your vote.
The notorious ACB.
Hold on.
That'll probably offend somebody. I just wanted to throw that in there.
But like I lost my train of thought. Oh,
it was so good.
No. This is good. The way that I look at Supreme Court justices is they're more important than the president as a whole, because they are actually
they're there their whole life.
Correct. So they dictate a few generations of change in a way, and I try to vote for whatever way I think that the Supreme Court justice is going to go. I never used to, but like that is something that I strongly value. And that's something that I've realized growing like up a little bit. And I don't care if Trump or Biden gets in, as long as, you know, we get the Supreme Court, and by we, I mean the Republican side gets the Supreme Court vote.
Notorious ACB, you support Notorious ACB? I posted some kind of thing about Notorious ACB, I think, and someone was like, shouldn't even be using letters like that, blah 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 blah. And it's like, dude, nobody copyrighted using their fucking initials like that. Come on, like, so I just won't call Atlanta ATL either. I won't call St. Louis STL. Like, get over yourself. You're not special. Plus, it's notorious. It's Notorious BIG anyway. So,
yeah, people are just dumb.
Again, people look for something to be offended by.
Anyways, I have to wrap this up.
I just saw your message. Mike's been sending me messages for like 40 minutes, and I'm just babbling. I didn't even look. Because we're just clowning on you motherfuckers. You should be thanking us in the comments. Subscribe. Share it with your mom. She's going to love this one.
Yeah, if you like our high political rants, share this shit. My high political rants.
It's like, dude, you can think whatever you want. Somebody will say, hey, you know, they shouldn't push it through. But at the end of the day, it's competition, and competitors want to win. And so, you know, you do whatever you need to do to beat the competitor. If the other side was in charge, they'd do the same thing. Plain and simple.
I was just going to say
Kobe Bryant doesn't shoot the freaking doesn't not shoot the game-winning shot because he worries about your feelings.
Well, not to like tie it in, but I'm going to. If you think that because it all just came out in the whatever report, Dahmer report, like the whole Russia thing, 100% hoax started by Hillary Clinton.
The Durham report is coming. It's supposed to be coming. In fact, it's October 1st. I've been waiting on this October surprise. Let's see if we'll call them if the radical right. Let's see if they're correct with their predictions that this whole deck of cards is going to fall.
If it happens,
let's see. Let's see.
This whole thing is going to go crazy sideways. And
we'll
I genuinely don't know what happens in America as a whole. Like civil unrest, I think is.
I know what you're talking about. The October surprise. We'll see. Because I got to be honest, I'm highly doubtful anything will happen. I could eat my words tomorrow, but. It's just like this stuff's been going on for so long. There's been so much corruptions, generation after generation after generation. My mom was a kid, remembers when JFK got shot. That whole thing was a whole big blowout theory that it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. People still argue about that today. Nothing happened. They shot that guy in the parking lot. They gave away his position, and Jack Ruby, or whatever his name was, showed up in the parking lot and blasted him. I mean, come on, man. We're never going to know. That's my opinion. We're never going to know.
I agree with that. Although I am saying whatever the Durham report says, like, it's a very interesting information to take.
It hasn't come out yet. They're still working on the Durham investigation. So we're going to have to see what that turns into. But they've done that again to be a hater, to play devil's advocate on this. The Warren Commission on 9/11 and this and that and the other thing generally never supports the conspiracy theory.
True.
Because we have to fact check ourselves on this show. We have to be prudent, I believe is about that. That's a strong word from me, by the way. I'm gonna have to Google that, find out if that's a noun or an adjective.
You got it right.
But I mean, we do need to hold ourselves accountable for this. So from my past research, any of those reports that come out, none of the theories that people are like, oh, this person's going down, it never happens. So I'm highly doubtful of the October surprise.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's going to go down. Although, maybe. I don't know. I fucking doubt it. I don't think that Hillary Clinton or any of these people see really anything. I was shocked that Jeffrey Epstein went to prison, but then, committed suicide. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I don't fucking believe that.
We're just laughing about it. But, I mean, it's pretty interesting that the guy was locked in a cell. All of a sudden, the camera stops working, and he dies.
Right? Weird. Anyways, we got to wrap this up because I am so fucking late right now. This was a great episode. We can pick up an Epstein conversation later. But
maybe Bam Margera showed up and tased him in the throat. We'll see you guys next time.